Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Sebastian, and today I'm going to talk about sustainability a little bit. But firstly, about a little bit about the threats that we are facing, because in media normally they don't mention anything else but about CO2, that we are threatened by CO2. You should drive electric cars, you should do this, you should do that. But to be honest, it's just about business, as always. But there are things we can do, in my opinion, and mainly I'm going to talk about that. And then I will, of course, talk about a little bit about 11 and 11 targets, since we are striving to reach our goal, which is to use more and more energy that is so-called green energy. We can talk about that also if we have time at the end. But most of all, we are reusing not just our products, but also other industries' products, which means that we try to reduce some of the waste around in the world. So just to get back to the beginning, what are the challenges globally? Because most of the people, it's a lot of people who are depressed about this, what is happening. Everybody's talking about different things. Nobody knows exactly what's all about. So maybe we can have some clarity about that. Normally, as I said, most talks is about the CO2. It's rising, and what should we do and what should we not do. But there are actually a lot of problems in our world nowadays. It's about the rising temperatures caused by CO2, but not just by CO2. Since we have just a little time, I'm not going to go into details. You can ask me. I have digged quite as much as possible in this theme, so I could talk like hours, but we have quite limited times. But not just CO2 that is causing temperatures rising. You probably know about it. For example, just an example, steam, the water that is getting out in the air, since it's warmer and warmer, it's more and more water in the air, and that is causing much more effect on global warming. Nobody is telling you that, I'm supposed, but just tell me if I'm wrong. So there are many things that are causing, for example, the warm up of our environment. Yeah, it should be like this. First time in my life somebody else did the presentation, so I might not be exactly on the theme, but you can tell me if something is not okay. I have been talking about the global warming up, biodiversity. Why is that something we should care about? We don't care about it because we are human, and we think we are, the crown of the whole population of the earth, which is of course not true, because if we don't have biodiversity at the end, we won't be the kings, because everything is bound together that we cannot even understand in which grade. So if the different species are extinct, then that would result in affecting us at the end. And if you don't have food and you don't have water, then you are not the king anymore. So you understand probably what I'm talking about. People are knocking, so I suppose that they know what I'm talking about. It's the same strain on ecosystems if you do things unchanged as we are doing now, because the only thing is how much GDP is. That is what everybody's concerned about. How much GDP, how much is going up? That is a costly thing to do in the long term. I will talk about that also. Economic impact, of course, because we care most about the economic impact. Everybody does, me too, so I'm not an exception. Don't get me wrong, but I just read today one article about that. Oh, the scientists say that the impact on the economy of the global warming up is much, much higher than they supposed before. It was like 2% they said before. Today they say 30%. So the decrease of the economy will be decrease. It's still, they are talking about how much the economy will go up every year, but it will decrease by 30% what it should be. So it is decreasing all the time. But capitalism, as you know, it's depending on growth. If you don't have growth, then you are finished, at least in this system. So we are, sorry?
Nothing to do with texting.
We will see. Now we are up with the waste. I was mentioning the waste. Of course, we are producing more and more waste. We will get there also. It is a problem, especially the plastic waste, since you know it, that plastic is breaking down, not literally, but in smaller pieces. And if it's very small, then it's getting back to all living organisms, not just a human. And it's causing interesting things that we don't even can imagine what it's going to end up with. Soil, it's the earth. If we are taking down the trees, we have more and more land to grow our food. That means if the climate is changing, wind, heavy rains, we had it in Spain not so long ago, means that the earth is spoiled away and you don't have earth to grow stuff on at the end. That's not so good either. So as you can see, and I have just mentioned a few things, it's a very complex system. And it's not just about CO2 that they are telling you all the time in the media. It's not about that, unfortunately, because CO2 could be fixed. But since the problem is much more layers and much compact and much more different things that you have to, and we don't know if you change something, we never know what we are changing at the same time. That is what we are doing as humans. We think we change one thing and then it's fixed, and then we are interfering in two more things, meaning that must be fixed also. And then we fix those two things, then we have to fix four more things. This is how it is. So you remember, all of you, since you're not that young, I'm not either, just to mention, but we had Paris. It's not so, no, it's something else now. Okay, sometimes shit happens, you know. It's another diagram, but
You jumped the first.
yeah, it will go back. I will try to hold me to what's on the diagrams. Here you can see from the beginning when industrialism started, 17, whatever it is, 70. It was a race. When we think everything was so dirty and so on, it was coal and mainly coal at the beginning, and the oil came later on. And it was so dirty. We see the pictures. Everybody is very dirty. But actually, when it comes how much energy we used, you can see that 1950, it's around here. Something happened. And that is when we started to use more and more oil. And the process is exponential, as they call it. That it's not a linear increase, but it's like this. And that means that on a shorter period of time, it's happening a lot of stuff. And if you look at year 2000, we had the agreement there. What happened since that? It's not a decrease, as I can see it, of energy use. But energy use and pollution normally goes together. I will show you that too. Resources. What do I mean by that? You know, we need a lot of stuff. They say, you should have electric cars. Okay, but still electric cars, you need copper, you need cobalt, you need this, you need that. And Earth is a closed system, fortunately, because when it's material coming out, in, that means that we don't join it. It's called meteors. And it happened a couple of million years ago, and it wasn't nice. So it is a closed system when it comes to materials, planet Earth. It's not leaving anything, and it's not coming in anything. And if you are talking about a closed system, and you are using up the materials you have, at the end you don't have materials to use up.
Finite resource.
Sorry?
Finite resource.
Yeah. It's as you can see, we have fresh water, we have soil degradation. The reserves are shrinking in general, especially rare metals, for example. When we get to pollution, you can see here, what do you think happened here? That we have a decrease there.
COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So when we took a little bit less activity, then it actually shrank, but then exponentially it was increasing again. This is mostly CO2 we are talking about here. But as you can see, we are polluting the air, the water, the soil, and we have a lot of waste. That is also a kind of pollution, of course. What are the effects? As you can see in the news, it's more and more about this climate, let's say, extraordinary happenings, meaning that there are events shown that it's floods, it's hurricanes, and it's this and that. We never expected tornadoes in Europe, for example. It's tornadoes in Europe nowadays. So these things are coming more and more. Melting ice, that we can hear in the media quite frequently, that the glaciers and the ice in the poles is melting, which is probably true since they are showing maps where it was before and where it is now and so on. But one thing they are not mentioning that is much more, I will talk about that also when it comes, because it's sea level rise is what they are talking about. But when you talk about the ice, it's not here either. It's not just that the ice is melting, but when temperature is rising, you know physics, if you have a lot of water, it's getting warmer. What happens? It's expanding. So it's much more, don't be afraid, Netherlands, but actually it will happen because it will be exponential also. The warmer it is, the more it is rising the sea level, since it's not more water, but it's more expanding because the density of water is highest at 4 degrees. So normally all water is 4 degrees. Okay, if it's frozen, it's not, but then it's expanding again. That's why ice is breaking things like if you have water in your car, then it's not so good to go under minus because it's exploding. But normally it's always 4 degrees, and then it's rising when you are getting up. But if the different levels are getting hotter and hotter, then it's expanding. And that is an effect that nobody's talking about at the moment. I haven't heard about that. And why is that a problem? Because it is changing the land areas, the habitat, also the climate change. It's not just that it's a few degrees. They say hotter, but sometimes it's colder actually, some areas. But let's call it changing climate or changing temperatures. It is a problem because most of the animals and other species, trees, cannot change as fast because they can change if they have 500,000 years or 1 million years. But in 5 or 10 years, no animal and no tree, nothing can, no other living organism can change as fast. So actually they are extincted at the end. They disappear, unfortunately. Even if we try to save them, it's not so easy sometimes. And at the end, it's always money who wins, just so you know about it. We do these reports that, oh, we saved this animal and we saved that animal. If you save 3 of it, it is extincted at the end, because you need to have a population to be able to maintain the individuals. It's not enough to have in zoos or what they are talking about, that it's enough if we have a couple of them in different zoos, then we can have it left. It's not working like that. Yeah, I mentioned that the reason is that we have an unsustainable lifestyle. What we are doing, humans, is that we want to have an easy life, which is normal. This is what we want since we are on Earth, I think. That means that it must be convenient. We are not living as other species that what they do is that they eat, they sleep, and they have babies, and then it's fine, they can die. But we want everything. So this means that if you want to have a convenient life, meaning whatever we have, so everything that is overeating, drinking, and having babies, let's say, if it's enough food and water, because I'm not going to go into it, but all organisms on Earth is between arrow I, it's a return on invested energy. It is something they are calculating. If you are at 1, then you are going to die, you are starving. If you are at 2, then you can have babies. It's somewhere in between, but it has always been between those figures. If you are under 1, then you cannot have enough food to survive. If you are over 1, then you survive. If you are over 1.5 or something, then you can have babies. And all organisms are living like this on Earth since the beginning. We have that at 100 and things like that. So we don't need it to survive, but we need it to have a convenient life. Before in time, we had slaves. Now we have machines, and the machines need fuel. And if you need fuel, you have to burn it. I know, green energy and stuff like that, we can talk about it, but it's not enough. I will show you why later on. When it comes to reliance on non-renewable, we call it renewable energy. It's not, because I have never seen 2 solar panels making a small solar panel, right? They are not. They have to be manufactured, and it needs material and it needs energy. So it's never renewable. The only thing is renewable is trees. Actually, that they oppose that you burn trees because it's CO2. But normally, the only thing that is possible to call renewable at the moment is burning wood. Nothing else is renewable energy. But I know it's shocking, and it's too short time to explain. But it's not, believe me. Green energy is not either, and it's against me also, because we have a lot of solar panels saying that, oh, we are also renewable and so on. But it is renewable till you have the material to build the solar panels. But when the material is finished, then it's not renewable anymore, because you cannot manufacture any more solar panels. And as I showed you before, the materials are decreasing all the time. Those particles you have to manufacture, for example, solar panels. Yeah, high carbon footprint. This is what you get from the media all the time. Resource depletion. This is what is really serious, and they are not talking about, because to manufacture things, you need different materials. I have explained before, all the metals and everything. And we have like cans of metals, those areas where different things are concentrated. We go there with machines and take it out, and then we can do things. But since it is physics also, when those are finished, then they are spread around everywhere. And if you have small quantities of everything, probably I could have some gold from this table also, but maybe one atom or something. But it's not very money-wise, very wise to try to get one atom of gold of this table. So it won't be, if we spread everything around in the world and they are not reusing it, that means that eventually all these cans where we have concentrated different things like cobalt is in Congo. Nobody is telling you that cobalt is needed to electric cars for the batteries. It's dug by children in Congo. 80% of the Earth's cobalt is in Congo, for example. Nobody's telling you that. Just buy electric cars because it's good. So I'm talking about misleading people by media and also politicians, by the way. Maybe I won't survive my way back to Hungary, but no. Reliance on fossil fuels. Whatever they say, we still use more and more fossil fuels. The cake of energy usage is growing all the time, as I said, since we need to produce growth every year. And that means also that even if a bit of the cake, like renewable energy, is increasing, and they're saying that it's around, I don't know, 30% now, since the cake is bigger every year, that means that the energy produced by oil, mainly, or fossil fuels, because they still use coal also, is increasing every year. And we are still dependent on oil, whatever they say. You cannot transport anything at the moment without oil. Okay, I quit with that, I think. We have a linear economy, which means that we take it, we make it, we dispose it, and that's it. We throw it away, and it gets in the earth, or we are burning it. Whatever we do, what, in my opinion, we should do to try to have a circular economy, which means that we are not throwing everything away, but we are reusing stuff as much as possible. And why I'm saying that, I have already explained that, because it's not so much we can do in current model to even slow down the development as we are in it. So the waste production, you can see here, every 5th year it's a little bit more, right? Not so little, because it says billions of tons in the left one here. So if you can see, in 2000 it was around 1.5, and 25 we end up 4.5. Even if media tells you otherwise, we have more and more garbage around us. Of course, after a while, you don't know what to do with it. We have to burn it. If we burn it, what happens if you burn something? Then we have the CO2 misery again. But even if you dig it down in the earth, okay, it takes a couple of 1,000 years or 100 years. But eventually, when even plastic breaks down, CO2 is coming out. So it's nothing solved, actually. You have probably heard about the ocean plastic crisis. We have big islands floating around in the ocean. The biggest one is twice the area of France. So you can imagine how big plastic islands are floating around in the ocean. Some of them is thick also. So all life below, no sun, no oxygen, it dies. So we have waste management challenges. Okay, I have talked about this renewable energy. Yeah, we can build this and we can build that, but till everything we need different things. To wind energy, we need a lot of copper and a lot of concrete to everything. So that means also that before you start to produce electricity, for example, from wind turbines, you have to build it. If you need thousands or millions of tons of concrete, concrete is CO2. As you know, it produces a lot of CO2 when you're building things. To have copper.
But that's the same for fossil fuel plants. You also need to build them, so that's not different. You have to, whether you build a windmill or you
Partly.
build a coal plant, it both produces CO2.
Of course, if you build a children garden, it's also CO2 because you use concrete, but how much you use, it is the difference. For example, if you take, I thought personally that nuclear energy is green because it's no CO2. Okay, there is a little bit radiation, they solve it, but they never calculate with the cost, and the cost is not money. Money is not worth anything if we are doing like this. At the end, you can wipe your nose with the money, because if you don't have food, you don't have clear water, what do you do with your money? So back to nuclear energy. How much concrete do you need, you think, to build a nuclear energy plant? It's imaginable. They build it for 10 years. Concrete, concrete, concrete to be safe, let's say. And when they calculate, for example, the price of energy from nuclear plants, they don't add the cost of the concrete and all the materials you are using. They are just adding, oh, we need fuel, it's uranium. And then, okay, maybe 50 years, 60 years, we do something. It's a later problem. But then also, for example, the wind energy, normally they dig it where it is because it's so much energy and they cannot transport it. So if you have 20, 30, whatever years, they don't know what to do with it. And it's never calculated in the price of energy. The price, I mean CO2, for example, that they are talking about, because price is not just money.
And so you're talking about environmental cost.
Of course.
But
because money is not worth anything at the end.
that would make it that you have to calculate the difference between a nuclear power plant and a coal, for instance, a coal power plant in concrete cost. What's the difference between that? That makes the price.
The difference is that the coal and the oil is already there. That is the difference, that you don't have to build. For example, Germany, they closed down a lot of nuclear power, coal power, oil power. And what are they doing now? They are reopening the oil and the coal plants because they cannot solve the problem of not having enough energy.
Yeah, I see.
So
But the plants are already down, and so in that case, so are the nuclear plants if they have closed them down. France has a lot of nuclear power plants.
of course, it's not worth to close it. If you have already built a plant, whatever it is, it doesn't matter because all of them are polluting. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not for oil or coal. Don't get me. But yeah. So the question is, what about reopening these ones? And it's a cost also, but you don't have to build them. To reopen nuclear power is not that easy because you need personnel who can handle it and things like that. It's a
Nothing is ever easy.
no. I'm not against anything. Yeah, I'm against maybe humans, but I'm not against anything or for anything. I'm just trying to explain the mess we are in and what I think we can do about it or try to do something about it because it's not that easy. And I need to highlight the problems first, I think, before I talk about what I think could be the solution, let's say. Geothermal energy, all these things, it's nice, but not everywhere. Hydroelectricity, same thing. Building a dam and all these things is not that easy. It takes a lot of time, and not everywhere. You cannot build a dam here in Holland because what do you do with it? It's like, yeah. So you need to have altitude to it. And what I think is that we need to recycle more. At the moment, I can't see anything else that would help us because you are saving energy, you are saving materials, and you are not polluting as much. That would be one of the solutions to do, because the technocrats, those who believe that, oh, don't worry about it because we have solved it always. Humanity will come up with a plan and we will have new gadgets and we can solve it. And I'm afraid it's not that easy, but we can at least slow down the process we are in. At the moment, we don't see anything. As I showed you before, we are not slowing down anything. We are increasing everything.
Recycling most is more expensive than building new.
Not necessarily.
Plastic it is definitely, because they break down the plastic. That's all particularized when they do plastics, and the effect on the environment is more detrimental when they're trying to reuse most plastics than what it is when they manufacture it in the first instance using the solvents.
Yeah, but when you reuse, you don't need new material.
No?
What is plastic is made of oil, right? And if oil is finished, what do you do then? Because oil, okay, I know everything is endless. Everybody says we have oil, we have this, we have that. But, you know, sometimes we don't understand why prices are going like crazy. Because normally, according to economists, when something is scarce, that means it's a little left of something, then it should increase in price drastically. But it's not working like that because it's a lot of speculations as well. So if it was like that, then everybody would make money on the stock market, for example.
So we're being taxed on speculation.
Okay, but I think I'm far away from my subject at the moment. But it's nice that we discussed this because my goal was to raise these things, and so we can have a debate about it. I mean, you should, or you are not necessarily thinking what I'm doing. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you, and then you can take home whatever you want to take home from it. So now we are back to us because we are, after all, a company. So I should talk about why we are so good and what we are doing. I think we are, but also I need to enlighten it to you. We try to innovate a lot. That means also, for example, it's not just that we are using our own waste, like here you can see this one, or other industries' waste, because we are not just reusing our own waste, but we take those industries that cannot do anything with it, and you are right, it is costly money-wise to do it. But the cost normally is not just money, as I said. So if we have shoe and car industry in our country, And instead of letting them dig down in the earth or burn it, because these are the options, we make new targets of it. And it takes a couple of years to develop how you can do it, so it's a good quality also. But I will talk about that also. You can have innovations in product design. We have this inserting system. This one you see here also, that you have a butt. And if you are changing the inserts, that means that you don't have to change the whole target. But when the insert is finished, you change this one. And then it's less transportation, less material used, and all these things. So you can invent new things to decrease the cost, both on environmental and money-wise in this case, because you don't have to buy the whole target and throw the old one away. Eco-friendly manufacturing process. Now, it's very hard because I said that it's not so many processes that is eco-friendly what humans are doing, but let's say that we believe in green energy. Everybody does, I know, even if I'm telling you that you shouldn't. And that means that if you have a lot of solar panels, we have a lot. We have 80% of all our energy covered by solar panels, which for us was a very good decision economically also, because energy prices raised a lot the last 2 years or 3 years or whatever, not just since the war, but our government is supporting the people with subventions for energy prices, meaning that all the companies are paying much higher price for the energy, because it is not even a zero gain. They are making money on taking more money for the energy from companies and less money from the population. So they are popular because energy is very, very cheap. At the end, they pay it anyway, but they don't know about it. And then resulting on that most of the companies are in big trouble if they have to pay for the electricity, for example. So it was money-wise also a very good investment from us to go over to, let's say, green power. We are not polluting as much, at least not at my place. But as you know, when you are digging the different materials, let's say China, what do you think they use? Very big excavators, using tons of diesel to do it. So we are just exporting our pollution normally when we are saying that it's more green. But in this case, it was a good decision for us at least. And also it's good because I think even if it's not true, it's good to believe in something. We are humans. We want to believe in something. We are doing something good. So we have solar panels, we have electric cars, we have this, we have that, because it's important to engage the community we are in. So people need to have a goal. People need to have a trust in something. If everybody's going around, there is nothing to do, then nothing will be done. So it's very, very, very important, in my opinion, to have a belief in that we can change something, we can do something good, so our kids and grandkids can have somewhere to live eventually. Also, sports has these declared goals that we need to have sustainable sports. It's not so easy to do since we have to travel a lot. For example, if you take the Olympics, they say, oh, we are sustainable. No. For what reason? I mean, just a qualification procedure, if you think around it, you have to go, I don't know how many places with airplanes. So be careful about when people are telling you that they are sustainable and they are so green and that green. And that's why I'm here, because it's very, very hard to know what is sustainable and not sustainable, of the reasons I have been telling you before. For us, of course, it's good for our brand if we can tell you and we can prove that, yes, we are doing this and we are at least partly sustainable since we are reusing stuff. It is also a better product. So if we can prove it to you and As you can see, all those who are here, they know something about the subject because we are debating while I'm doing this, which is good. But also, as said, we need to encourage athletes, other people, and athletes are encouraging other people to do something about the situation we are in. But at the moment, 99% of the people don't know what situation we are in, unfortunately. But also, we are promoting the longevity of the products, which is also controversial, because if you think, most of you are dealers or distributors or have a company, if you are a dealer, for example, I very well know that if I say that, okay, you can sell this and it will last forever, and they say, I'm not interested, because I want to sell 5 products while I'm selling this one once. It is the durability 5 times the other product, and I want the other product because I can sell it 5 times. Meanwhile, I'm selling yours once. So the money is a hinder here also. The growing economy, as I told you, it's always an obstacle when you want to do something. So, of course, it should be durable, but not that durable that nobody wants it. Because the archers, they do want under gloves, because they don't want to buy new equipment all the time for a lot of money. But the dealers, distributors, they want to sell products. They are also part of the economy, as I explained before. And we also, but we try to make our cake bigger instead of, selling more of less durable stuff. We sell more of durable stuff by baking our own cake, as I explained before, bigger. That means that other manufacturers have less of the cake, of course, but that is not my problem. Case study of 11. Yeah, I brought you one also. We try to maximize the reused material, so it's between 60 and 80% of the weight is reused material. This is the heaviest part of it.
So as a company, did you develop as a company that reuses or recycles in that effect and then find the market for whatever you were manufacturing? Or did you start out to manufacture something to use specifically for this equipment?
At the moment, this one. And the reason is that we are experts on this market. You can produce things, but we are a small company to get into markets that we don't know. You need a team who can explore the market, who has experts, and you need to have the connections to sell it. We have been researching for that, but we could have it for, let's say, playgrounds or football fields.
And you're looking at places to sell the product into.
Yeah, but we are not on that market, so you have to be very careful about selling products on markets that you are not in, because you are not an expert when it comes to, let's say, football fields. They have similar stuff below the artificial grass, for example, or kids' playing ground, for example, or whatever. But for us, it's a hot area because we know archery. We don't know football fields, right? So if somebody comes here and don't know anything about archery, how can they develop targets, for example? So, yeah. I have talked about these things, maximizing reused materials, the demand for virgin stuff. Actually, these stuff we have, and it looks like new. This is also not first-class products, so they would. We are not mentioning it, but not only this part is reused, but this one would be shred down and destroyed anyway, because the polyfoam factory sells it as second-hand or second quality stuff, and if we are not buying it, they are let's say, reusing it by burning it or digging it down. So the whole target is reuse, but we are saying that, okay, this part is 60 till 80% of the weight is reused. Also, this stops the arrow much more effectively than the soft layers, which makes it not just durable, more durable, but also when it's competition, for example, compound and it's raining, it's very hard to have soft layers stopping the arrow since the technology in archery is developing as well. So the arrows are penetrating and going through if you don't have the materials in it. And density is very important here. The more density it is, the more effective it stops the arrows. It's physics. So anybody who says that, oh, it's just as good as 11 or just as good as this one or that one, it's not. Because if it's light-weighted material, which is cheaper, of course, because this is sold by kilo. So if you have less kilo, it's less cost to produce it, but it won't stop your arrow. So then you need some backstop, you need a netting, you need this, you need that, which is also cost, and you have to work with it. So we are promoting the circular economy as well with it, hopefully. What a producer can do also is to optimize the processes. Everybody is doing it. If you are in a competitive market, if you're not doing it, eventually you will stop producing because you are not effective enough to sell your products. Our products are made 80% of our, and I'm glad for it, because otherwise I don't know how I would be able to keep the prices, since energy has been like increasing also here, I think. I don't know. How do you think energy prices went the last 2-3 years? I think whole Europe has experienced that energy is something that eventually is scarce. So you have to be careful about how much you use. So we are talking, they are talking about zero waste approach, a lot of it, and we, in my opinion, we have done it in my company, which we are proudly to say that we are reusing not just our own, so we are actually minus on that side, because we are taking others' waste also. Of course, we can talk about the downsides of everything. You have to transport it, but you have to transport all material and all these things. I get the questions very, very often, okay, but why don't you take back your own targets then from Australia? But then you can imagine how much cost, and not just money-wise, it is to take back garbage from all around the world. First, you have to collect it somewhere, and then you have to transport it back. Transportation is solved by oil. So at the end, I think the solution would be that every country and every district, not just country, is responsible for the garbage they are producing, and it's reused in the area where it is produced. So it wouldn't make sense to transport back all the cars that are produced in my country to reuse it, but where the life cycle ends of that product, and then you are not transporting anymore, but everybody has their own little centers where they are reusing different parts, be it metal, plastic, whatever. And then if somebody is doing that, they're not just using their own garbage, but all the others who are producing in the area. That is the approach of being careful about how much energy we are consuming to do something, because that is also important.
Is that your intention for your company, to open regional manufacturing and recycling?
For all waste products?
For you, just for you.
No, it's not. We are in the archery business, and we are reusing as much as possible. But if we are increasing our production more and more, that means that we need more and more waste products to reuse, and that way we can decrease the production of and not all plastic can be used.
It's the only point I make. Sorry, at the very beginning you were saying about the myths and messages that come from the media are often misled. I would say zero waste is one of those, because you can't get zero waste in a fully circular economy. That has some waste out of it. You mentioned
The figures are varying, but you know how much percentage of plastic waste is reused in the world?
Yeah. We're doing a bad job.
They are about between 7 and 13%, they say. 7. All the others in Asia, in Africa, they don't have anything. They have rivers, and the river is taking away. It's not there anymore. It's solved.
We send all our waste out there, and then they just throw it in the river anyway.
Yeah, that's a solution also.
That's what they do.
So it's not good.
I think what you meant is, do you intend to license out your product so that they
Okay.
manufacture it in Australia, so they don't have to?
Yeah, we are thinking about that. Yes.
That's what, I think that's what you meant.
There's different models.
But we are still a small company. We look big, but we are not. So it's we need to grow first.
This is where franchising comes in, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to read this. One of my people did this presentation. I try to keep myself to it, but sometimes I just jump. So here we have the products that we are producing at the moment that we think it's good to have when it comes to long-lasting archery products. And also, as I said, if you are replacing just part of the products, that even that is lasting much longer than the other parts, also reduces the need of frequent replacements and transportation and to buy these products. Sustainable material choices, yes. Also, if you have high quality products for the same price as the others, probably the customer satisfaction will be higher, since they don't have to buy, they don't have to spend as much money per arrow shot as in other cases. So I'm always telling my customers that, yeah, it's not that cheap, because there is expectation in Western people that if something is made in the eastern part of Europe, then it should be cheaper. But why should I buy it if it's not cheaper than made in Germany? And it is an expectation, let's be honest. But if you get better quality for the same price, then it makes sense to everybody to buy products because of the reasons I have mentioned. And your customers will be much more satisfied. Not to mention that this material is so-called half open cell. This is closed cells. So if you shoot in this one, it's not so easy to remove the arrow. But if it's half open cells, that means that when the impact is happening, the air doesn't have time to leave the structure. And it is quite hard material. But when you are taking it out slowly, the air is going out and you can easily remove the arrow, and that is the reason why it's much easier to remove arrows from this easy pull material, as we call it. Yeah, and that is the end. So now we can talk about anything you want.
I think we've gone through the ecological justification. So yeah, I think you've.
Part of it. It's so complex, so we don't even know what we are talking about. It's.
No, and as far as the government's concerned, every time we can do what we like, provided you pay enough taxes, it doesn't matter. Because you drive into town, if you pay £12.50, it makes the air clean again.
I doubt it works that way, but
Doesn't work that way.
it's good for
It's all down to fence. It's all down to pound shillings and pence.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want you being there at all, but if you pay £12.50, it's all right.
Yeah, and people take it as
Good for the national treasury.
Have you
but-
done an hour per hour comparison with a layered foam against yours? So a layered foam boss,
layered form. Oh, yeah, okay.
right? So a comparison between the 11 bosses with centres to a layered foam for the longevity.
It depends on the density of the other foam, as I mentioned before, because there are high density foams. In this one, if you later on you can feel it. The soft one is around 30 kilos per cubic meter, and the harder ones can be up to 120, 60
What
kilos.
I'm saying is, I mean, if you go and buy a car, and they, you know, the car manufacturer will open and close that door however many millions of times to make sure that it's got the longevity of use. So what Bob's saying is, have you actually put your target structure, your composite, up against the standard layered foam?
Yeah, we have.
And had an archer or a machine shooting at it again and again and
Yeah,
again.
we have, and we know how much it lasts. It depends also on the poundage of the bow. Of course, compound is tearing more, and yeah. So we said that it's about, depending on which bow, is 2,000 to 3,000 per 10 square centimeters. It's like this, and the foam, it's much less, let's say 5 times or something like that, even our foam. So it's not, yeah. Physics is physics. Everybody says mine is best. It's not. You need to have the density. That is the secret. I told you our secret. So
Have the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Yeah. So you do something in equal measure on both. So that's what we're saying is you put
we have done it, and we
a million arrows on the other one, and which one actually physically comes out with the best.
yeah, we have done that. We are the best, and you can you can test it yourself, because the best test if you are doing it yourself. At the moment, we are developing a machine to do it, because we are in 3D business also. So we are going to do a test on different 3D animals. Maybe not us, but anyway, if you are sponsoring the test, then everybody thinks that you are doing it anyway.
Show you how we get on with the ones we got.
And yeah, and you need a machine actually to imitate the impact of the arrow. It is quite a work to have something similar, because it's not just sticking in and taking out. It's a little bit more different. Yeah. So we can test different things for our own sake also, because to be honest, these materials vary. We are buying the components from big companies, but sometimes they are not even telling us that something is changed because of environment or whatever. Some gas, only if you change this little of the 30 components or 80 or whatever it is in it, and then it changes. So we are very keen to keep it as it is, but it has changed since we began like 15, 20 years ago. It's not the same material, because you know there are regulations that the manufacturers has to keep. Yeah.
Sorry, but I have to interrupt you because of the time.
I'm talking too much, I have been told.
It's a really interesting discussion.
You have a part on it, you do it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.